Hi, this is David Kirshner for West Hempstead Echo, and I'm here with Dr. Manny Fajardo, and Manny is the owner of Somerset Brewery.
That is me.
And you're also a doctor, not on the side, but certainly full-time. Manny, tell us about this place. It's pretty amazing.
I started brewing about like 12 or 13 years ago. Started in the city. I was living on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, had a small bedroom apartment, was basically brewing beer on my stovetop. Eventually moved to, if you see the picture that's behind us, my brother's garage right over there, where we kind of built a bigger system, and then we were brewing in there for a couple of years, and then that eventually led to all of this.
So that brewing was done in Garden City. It was done nearby?
It was. So my brother lives about like 5 minutes away in Garden City. So again, we outfitted the whole entire garage as if it was just like a small brewery, right? So whenever you talk about brewing beer, you talk about how many barrels of beer you brew, and in there we were doing a 1 barrel batch. So if you actually look from the system that's hanging from the ceiling, that's a 1 barrel, what we call pilot system. So it gets us 2 kegs of beer every single time we brew. So it was basically the same system that we used in the garage that's back there.
Wow. And why this particular area? I mean, it's not your typical place for brewery, but yet here we are.
Yeah, for sure. So, I grew up between, I was born in Ozone Park, grew up between New High Park, and then went to high school later in Garden City. But now I'm almost 41 years old, right? So whenever I would come back and visit my brother, my sister, my parents used to live in the area, I always say, let's go, bring the kids, bring the dog, let's go to a place where we can have a couple of beers and bring the whole entire family. We're always traveling super far, right? So growing up around here, I knew you either had to go to Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, or, far out east to go to any place to get either good beer around here. So, me and my brother were always talking about it for a long time, and our friends for 20 years about like how come there's nothing more, family friendly, dog friendly that's in this neighborhood. So we wanted to bring that whole entire culture somewhere close to Western Nassau County, Eastern Queens, where we kind of grew up, right? So
fantastic location. So the outdoor place, there's a buzz in the community that this is a place that's really hopping on the weekend. And you're saying that you can bring your dog also on a Saturday night?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm a very dog-friendly guy, I've always had big dogs growing up between Rottweilers, German Shepherds, and now I have, again, a puppy Rottweiler who just turned 1. And, we had a birthday party for him a week ago, and believe it or not, we had an obedience dog trainer come giving free lessons to dogs, and then we also had a dog groomer come with a van who was like washing dogs and doing all that dog nail clippings and stuff like that. And believe it or not, we had over, I think, 50, 60 dogs that actually showed up. So
I have a 15-year-old dog. I think he still needs obedience training. So, and my dog's name is Memphis, and I understand that you have I see a beer here named Memphis. So what's the backstory to?
You take a look at our board right now. We have, now we've been brewing a ton. So we have close to 22 beers that are on tap. And the backstory with Memphis is, all my beers, they all are basically named after someone super significant in my life, right? And so Memphis was the first dog I've ever had. I got her when I was in college. She was a Rottweiler. Memphis, the beer now is what we call like a fest beer. So it's a mix between like an amber ale and almost like an Oktoberfest. And, hands down, it's my favorite beer that I like to drink here. It's just smooth, it's mellow, it's easy. You can drink it in the summer heat, you can drink it in the winter. You can kind of drink it all the time.
I hear that you produce dog biscuits in addition to the beer. What's that all about?
What's interesting in the brewery world is that we go through a lot of grain, right? So whenever we mash them with the grain, in essence, then that's what you call spent grain. And we have, probably thousands of pounds of it a week, right? So what do you do with it? So at first we were giving it to some farmers and stuff like that. We're very friendly with Crossroads, which is down the road.
Sure.
I had some friends who had some farms out on Long Island that sometimes take it. And then now we started making it dog biscuits. So spent grain, basically all it is basically just, barley that's been crushed and then we filter it through with water and stuff like that, and then I give it to my sisters, and my sisters have been baking dog biscuits with it. So they add peanut butter, a little bit of cinnamon, and I think that's pretty much it. For most breweries, you want to try not be wasteful, right? So we are trying to stay more green and environmental, and so it's treats for my dog, and kind of works out. So.
And what are some of your best-selling beers that you have on tap?
Some of our best-selling beers here are our more traditional beers, like Wizard, which is just a German-style Kolsch. Memphis is definitely up there, which again is our amber ale fest beer kind of. And then, we also make some IPAs that are pretty popular, like Surgical Precision, which is like a fruit-flavored, what they call New England-style IPA, and then also Pandemonium, which is more on the malty side, but definitely between those four, I think are most popular. So.
Awesome. I heard that you have a beer that uses local bagels. Is that true?
If you grew up, in Nassau County, you know A&S very well.
Of course, on Hempstead Turnpike.
So growing up here, A&S was one of the very few places that was open 24 hours, so you could always get food there, right? And as kids in high school and college or whatever, where else are you going for, late night munchies except for going to A&S? So if you're familiar with A&S, one of their famous sandwiches is called the Paulie. I think it's an everything bagel with cheddar cheese and roast beef, but I used to get it all the time when I was a kid. And so, growing up around here, Long Island, what are we known for? Really good bagels, right? So what's interesting from the brewing perspective, especially from my background in medicine, you really have to have like a strong background in microbiology, chemistry, virology, all these types of things. So to make good beer, you should have a fine understanding of carbohydrate metabolism and what it takes to make a beer. And so what's interesting about the bagels is I was like, bagels have a lot of complex carbohydrates, so if we can add that into the beer, it will probably give us more complex flavors. And so we added it into our stout. And when I first started brewing beer, again, I was a very traditionalist. 13 years ago, there wasn't any IPAs like there are today. You only had Pilsners, lagers, Oktoberfest, stouts, and stuff like that. And so I started to experiment with it a long time ago in our stout, because in order to, give your stout more body and just more complexity in the beer, I was like, it's the one beer that makes the most sense to brew bagels with. So we use plain bagels in it, inside of the mash, and then it gives it more texture, it gives it more body. So
awesome. So Memorial Day just passed, which is the unofficial kickoff of the summer. Are there any special plans for Somerset going into the summer?
We've been getting really good crowds even before the summer started, or technically summer. So we've only been open for 11 months, so we don't even know what the spring per se is here to bring. And so again, we do have a couple of graduation parties, a couple of other parties, a couple of festivals, beer festivals that we're doing. One which is going to be at Six Harbors Brewing Company, which is in Huntington, which we're excited about. But besides that, just normal brewery operations.
So dog-friendly, a unique environment, full-time doctor. How do you manage all of this?
When we first started, I wasn't working as a doctor because I needed to get everything up and running. So 5-6 months going, there were long days, hands down 15, 16 hours a day, every day, Monday through Sunday, because I was kegging the beer, brewing the beer, carbonating the beer, bartending, cleaning everything, staying here till super late, all that kind of stuff. But now, I've never ran my own business, right? So the interesting part of, I know a ton about brewing beer. I know nothing about owning and operating a brewery, right? So I think I'm the first schmuck to probably just jump right into the deep end with no commercial brewing experience. But just like everything in life, I've always thought that learning from experience is always better. And so now what's really nice is, you can see the guys in the background who are helping to brew the beer right now. We have close to 20 employees who are all, locally from, pretty much everyone's from Nassau County.
Wow.
And so, they all help with not only brewery operations, from brewing the beer, kegging the beer, and all that kind of stuff, but also bartending and everything else. So it's been nice because, here we have, I call them kids. They're not kids. They're all 22-year-old men to 30-year-old men who I've basically taught how to brew beer.
Wow.
So they've definitely been really good. So their names are Tom Sullivan, Jack Morello, and Connor Kramer. So who have all been super helpful with all of the stuff that's been going on with the brewery, because we've, exactly what you said before, is we have gotten a lot of traction. And so
it's kind of like cramming your 10,000 hours in a real short amount of time. And
yeah, for sure. And the one thing about being a doctor, and something that I've learned from previous experience, is time management, right? And how best to utilize people that are in your group, and that's exactly what we do. So between Tom, Jack, and Connor, they all have their strengths, so I try to utilize their strengths while I can finally get some peace and relaxation. But my peace and relaxation is still, an 80-hour work week.
Wow.
Even over here.
So you sleep like a little bit during the week.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even hit a year yet, right? So it's one of those things, knowing when you open up your own business, you're going to be spending a lot of time. So in essence, I consider this more my house here than my actual house.
Wow. So congratulations. This is really an amazing establishment, and one of its kind, very unique in our area. I urge our community to come out here to visit on the weekends. It's really happening. Bring your dog, bring your appetite for beer. You won't be disappointed. So this has been David Kirshner, and I've been here with Dr. Manny Fajardo, and I really appreciate all the time. This has really been incredible.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
So much.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So.